All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this live interview. I'm Diane, and we are doing a variety of interviews today, and so we're so excited to be here with Frances, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. So can you tell me who you are and what you do?
I'm Frances Day-Stirk, and I'm president of the International Confederation of Midwives.
Amazing. So I would like to ask you my first question, which is, what do you see as priorities for maternal and newborn health within the new Sustainable Development Goals?
I think the priorities are mainly in Goal 3, looking at maternal and newborn health and the indicators there. So for midwives, it's about perinatal health and all that encompasses, because that's the role of the midwife for sexual, reproductive, maternal and newborn health. But there are also others, targets or indicators within perhaps number 5, looking at gender equality and issues like child marriage and female genital cutting and stuff like that. So we have to look at the whole of the SDGs and how our work as midwives can be influenced by them, and how do we influence them and the women and the families that we look after.
And so how is ICM doing that? How will ICM work towards those goals?
Well, ICM was kind of prepared. So our strategic directions for 2014 to 2017 draws heavily on the SDGs, but also on the global strategy for women's, children's and adolescents' health. And we have 5 strategies, and they're all around how we empower and enhance the role of midwives. So around their education, around their full scope of practice and the autonomy to do that, around regulation, around research, and very importantly around strategic partnerships, because we know that we can't achieve any of what we want to achieve for women, and our vision is a world where every woman, wherever she lives, irrespective of her race, creed, color, has access to a competent midwife for herself and her newborn. And we can't do that alone. We have to work with our health professional colleagues, with stakeholders of all shapes and sizes, and that's what we're planning to do.
Exactly. So what would you say are the greatest needs that midwives have, and does that vary in relation to region?
It does, but one of the common things is strengthening midwifery education. In some regions, the midwifery education really needs to be brought up to ICM standards, and that's what we're focusing on. So working with various partners and with governments, and helping midwives to be able to teach, introducing competency-based education and training. So training the trainers so they can then cascade that in country, helping to build higher education institution for midwives. So that's our starting point, and there are a lot of other things around it, like once you have a competent midwife, is the regulation right touch? Is it fit for purpose? Can she practice to her full scope? Because otherwise governments are wasting their money if they educate midwives, but then they're not allowed to practice, and women and babies then don't benefit from midwives.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about youth. How do you think we can really empower youth in this discussion? They are, young people who are 15 now will be 30, obviously, in 15 years. So how is ICM thinking about young people, young midwives? What is their role?
Well, let me just tell you a little story.
Okay.
So at the UNGA in September last month, I met some really inspiring young people, and I don't think that at 15 I was articulate and as forceful as some of these young women were. I also met a young woman who was married at 14 because she had to get married, had 2 children by 18, did not have the benefit of education. But my goodness me, did she have the capacity to move things. So we will, and we do talk and engage with the youth.
Yeah.
But in terms of young midwives, youth is like 15 to 24. Most midwives on qualification don't meet that age.
Okay.
So we engage with student midwives.
Okay, yeah.
Quite a lot. At our last Congress in Prague, we had a big meeting of over 200 student midwives from across the globe. So that's our focus in engaging with the youth. But midwives in practice, of course they have to engage with the youth, because many of the people that we look after are adolescent girls.
Yeah.
And they need just as much care, and sometimes even more care than adult women who are going through pregnancy. So it's a multitude of ways in which ICM engages with youth and young midwives. We're also planning to have a session next year at the Women Deliver Conference.
Oh, great.
Young midwives. So look out for that.
Yes, we definitely will. So for this conference, what are your hopes of what do you want to see coming out of this conference?
I think what I've seen so far and what I really want to see coming out is that the mother and the baby should not be separated. In the past, they have been. Mothers there, babies there. There's never been a separation for midwives, because I think we're the only healthcare profession that has a remit for both the mother and the newborn. We do not separate them. We cannot separate them. And I think bringing the both together at this conference is a sure sign of the way forward. What I've also heard, perhaps but not enough, is that one of the solutions in reducing maternal and newborn health is to introduce midwifery. If you look at the countries that have introduced midwifery, and we have a lot of historical evidence, but we also have research from the Lancet series on midwifery, you can see the enormous benefits to maternal newborn health and morbidity with the introduction of good maternity services, good midwifery services with competent, educated, regulated midwives. And that's what I hope people leaving this conference will go away with, that this is something that we need to take forward along with other issues. But this is a central point for reducing maternal and newborn health. Death, not health.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Such an inspiring discussion. And for those watching live, you will be able to continue to see this interview for the next 24 hours and tune in live to Girls Globe on Periscope as we continue to have these amazing conversations about maternal and newborn health. So thank you, Frances.
Thank you very much.